We started out shooting some round ball here in our Pietta 58 Remington Replica, and then we're going to switch over to some Johnson and Dowell that we've done some work on. Not say we should say work on these things, but we've added some paper to the back side of these things, that last 1/8 of an inch. We put a paper wrap on those. Hopefully that'll help to stabilize the bullet a little bit, but we want to shoot our round ball here first just to get things dirtied and fouled up good, and also get a benchmark of how we're shooting. We use 24 grains of triple F for that, and I say a 451 Lee cast round ball. So we'll get to shooting that first, and then we'll switch over to our Johnson and Dowells that we've made a little modification here too, and we'll see how those things shoot. And here's kind of what the cylinder looks like with those jammed down the chamber there. They're down quite a ways. I'd say top of that ball is probably a good 1/2 to 5/8 of an inch off the edge of the chambers here. So they're seated down there quite a ways. Plenty of room for lube down there. A lot of folks wouldn't care for those seated that far down. They want to get them off towards the end more for a little better accuracy, but I haven't found it makes that much difference. So anyway, that's what they look like when they're seated. I think it's past time we clean up our bench here. I mean, this is what's left over from last summer's shooting, and I just left her there this fall, or last fall I should say, and this is where it ended up this spring. So, but we got to do some cleanup there. So remnants of some Remington caps that we used last year. We did find one that was not open in that mess of them. So we're gonna get into those right now, and that's what we'll be shooting, number 10 Remingtons. Load it up. I think around 24 grains of triple F. Getting an early start this year, May 12th. This is the first time I shot the revolvers. I have shot some long guns. Alright, let's see what we get for our first string of 6. So next we're going to load up some of our Johnson and Dowells that we've modified here by putting a strip of paper, gluing that onto the trailing edge here. Normally that's where the paper cartridge would be attached on the back side of this, where the powder would be. And there's a recess back here for that, but I wanted to fill that in, and hopefully we'll get a little more stability maybe when we are shooting this bullet. So we're about to find out. I'll kind of show that wobble I'm talking about here. Here's standard the way those are made, and you can see there's quite a bit of slop here between the chambers here and the bullet itself. And if I put that down about halfway, I can tip that bullet quite a bit, and the base is still staying in the chamber. And if I do that with the paper on the back, I get that about halfway down, and it just slides in there. I'm getting a lot less wobble there. So anyway, that's the plan, and I'm going to use my loading device here, because this does have a kind of a cavity in there that's going to center that nose right up in here and help shove it down straight, whereas if I look at the normal loading lever here, this will show up or not, but get all in the sun. There we go. It just kind of got a recess there, but it's not shaped for a conical or anything. These conicals do just barely fit underneath that. I've tried it, and you could load them with the loading lever in the gun, I believe, but I'm going to use the press over here, and hopefully I'll get the optimum amount of stability of the bullet that way. If that wind gets any stronger here, we're going to blow our whole shed apart. Everything's banging around good. Oh, I've never known if I've ever loaded these Johnson & Dowells in a Remington before, because that's a substantial ring that cut off. I mean, I had to use whatever weight I've got left in me to get this thing to go down. You don't have quite the leverage, by the way, with this tool as I actually do with the loading lever in the gun. So that'd be a little easier that way, but I think we can get 5 more of them down here. Well, now I definitely know I've never shot these in a Remington before. I think I've shot them in a 1860 Army, and of course my Walkers. And we take a look at that. The first two here were with the loading press. We can see that protrusion that sticks out of them. That's due to the hole in the loading lever. This third one, I ended up seeing if my loading lever here would force them down, because I was having a devil of a time. I mean, I'm beating the top of this thing with that hunk of lead over here, so I ended up using the loading lever on this, but I ain't doing that again either. That was not fun. I was tempted to whap on this with our lead here or get an extension that would fit over that or something, but I managed to get her down anyway, but it wasn't easy. So I definitely do not recommend that J&D bullet with these 58 Remingtons. At least that's my experience right now. So what I ended up doing here was dumping the powder out of the last 3 chambers, because I had enough of loading those things. So we'll shoot these 3, get them on camera and see if they're on paper or what happens to them, or what happens to me here. 24 grains of triple F, Johnson & Dowell. First time I shot these out of a Remington, probably the last. Well, as long as we got to clean this gun up and before the wind totally blows our shooting shed apart here, we thought we'd shoot one more string here with the round ball. And hopefully we can remember not to use those Johnson & Dowells anymore in this Remington. It's not a good experience loading them or shooting them for that matter. Well, there's 6. I think that's looking pretty decent. That's a good string to quit on. Here's a close look at those targets that we just shot. We had an awful wind blowing out there, so I brought these into the shed here where I do my bullet casting. That was our first target that we shot with the round ball. First target actually this year that we shot with the handguns. So that came out pretty decent, I think, for first target. And then one that we shot with the Johnson & Dowell, we only ended up loading 3 of those things. They were darn hard to load down into the chambers. I'm not sure what the situation is there. The bullet, it's okay, it's cast okay, but I think the dimensions of those chambers there are just too small for that particular bullet. So we had a heck of a time loading those. Only loaded up 3 of them, and those went. And my third target here, I decided I'd shoot one more string of 6 with the round ball before I had to clean the gun up, and that came out really well. I think I got a group size there about 1.5 inches or 21 yards, so 6 shots. A little bit of luck involved in that one, but anyway, for our first time out on the range, I'm pretty happy with our basic gun, the way it shoots, and no complaints, with the exception maybe of finding out that those Johnson dowels just aren't going to work well in that Remington.